Welcome once again to Zee Michaelson Travel Podcast. I'm Jay Lawrence.
And this is Zee Michaelson.
On this edition of Zee Michaelson Travel Podcast, Zee is going to be talking about electrical appliances. We've got to say that word right.
Basically, what I'm talking about is tips.
Travel
tips.
But right now, we want to talk about some electrical appliances because we are never away. Us Americans, modern families, etc.
We're glued to our cell phones, our iPads, all of our little computer gizmos and gadgets. And of course, the ladies, they have to have their hair dryers and their straighteners. So there are a lot of electrical things.
Well, talking about straightening your hair, I've got an idea for you.
What's that?
Cut your hair before you go.
Then you'd have to really cut it short. Some women have very, very curly hair.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what happens if you go overseas?
Okay.
We're going to be traveling, right?
If you're traveling overseas, in the United States, you can bring your appliances along. But overseas, they use a different wattage and stuff.
Oh, yes?
Yeah. So what you want to do is, first of all, we do 120, they do 220 over there.
Right.
So it's a little bit different. If you plug in your stuff into their systems over there, you're going to blow your stuff. And you're going to damage your stuff. But it's really easy. So your phone chargers, your hair dryers, your curling irons, all of that. When you're traveling overseas, what you'll need is a little adapter. It's not that big, and it's not that as expensive.
And the unique thing is also when you get there is different countries have different holes.
Yes. And
receptacles.
One of the things, I went shopping with my daughter not too long ago, and she bought one of these little items, and I thought it was the neatest thing. It was a 3-in-1. Actually, because if you go to Europe, it's one set of electrical. If you go to China, it's something else. If you go somewhere. So they had the 3 right there in the one little adapter. And it's easy packed. You can throw it right into your suitcase, right into your pocketbook. It's so simple. And it cost about $30.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can go a little higher and a little lower, but you want to get one that's going to be pretty good.
Now, what about my cell phone? What about my charger for my cell phone?
Your cell phone chargers are the same thing. It's going to work on an electrical current. You're still going to have to plug in wherever you plug in for your electrical current into the wall, and your cell phone will plug into the adapter.
Now, would it be a good idea if I took my computer? Because I'm going to have to plug my computer in as well.
Okay. A lot of people take their computers, their laptops, their iPads with them. A couple of different things is, yes, you're going to want your adapter. Absolutely. That adapter is going to be key. When you charge your item, then you can always charge your other item later on or use it for your hair dryer. But you're not going to want to walk around the cities with your iPads and your computers.
Why is that?
Just for safety precautions. You're going to want to leave it in the safes at the hotels that you're staying in. So that's a good safety tip.
Now, what about my cell phone? I bought it here in the United States, but I want to use it in Europe. What's the deal?
Oh, okay. We all have these modern cell phones. However, when we go overseas, sometimes our cell phones, one, will not work because we don't have that little thing inside it, that little chip. Or 2, it will work, but it's going to cost you a small fortune in fees.
Roaming fees?
Because you're way overseas. So you don't want to do any of this. Some of the things that you can do is you can go over there and they have those stores where you can buy a phone, like Walmart has a buy a phone situation here.
Yeah.
You can do that overseas as well. Just buy one while you're over there and it'll work for you.
Oh, and I can call back to the U.S.?
Right, because it's like a prepaid phone. Yeah, so it's like a prepaid phone.
And that would be a lot cheaper.
It's very easy. Now, what I did with my daughter and stuff, because my daughter loves to travel as well as I do, and we have what's called 2 different apps. We have two different apps. One is called Viber, V-I-B-E-R.
Want to spell that again?
Viber, V-I-B-E-R.
Okay.
And the other one is WhatsApp, W-H-A-T-S-A-P-P. Okay. Download these apps before you go. Test them out before you go. And
what am I testing?
You're testing to make sure they work. Make sure you've downloaded them correctly. And then anywhere there's Wi-Fi, you can use these apps.
Oh, I see.
And guess what?
Yeah.
It's free.
Oh.
Yes.
So those are like Wi-Fis in different countries?
Exactly.
I see.
And you can they can actually be a live phone call as well via that app.
Oh.
So if you want to get a hold of somebody, it's very important, and you want to get a hold of somebody as long as you're in a Wi-Fi area and you have this app, let it ring because it's free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about what we do when we take electrical appliances overseas today.
Right.
And we're talking about cell phones. But I'm going to ask the question, what appliance do I really need to take with me when I'm traveling overseas? Do I really need
to take?
Do I really need that hair dryer? Do I really need I mean, just like buying a cell phone, wouldn't it be almost cheaper to buy a hair dryer over there and use it or not?
Well, it can be. It can be cheaper to buy it over there, and then you can just give it to, a bring and buy before you leave, or bring it back home with you, duty free. But again, you got the electrical issues when you bring it back overseas. A lot of people, like me personally, I don't even bother with a hair dryer. I mean, even though my hair is long, I won't bother with a hair dryer. A lot of the hotels that you go to, just like here, will have hair dryers.
Hair dryer.
Yeah, they'll have some amenities for you to utilize there. My daughter, she had to go with, her and her girlfriend went. So one girl packed the hair dryer, the other one packed the curling iron. So they kind of split the packages.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that this brings you into the next tip, packing. Okay. When you're going overseas, and now particularly, my best tip for everybody is pack light.
Well, yeah.
Light.
How do you pack light?
Well,
do I buy one of those things where you suck the air out of the bag? And
yes.
Is that the answer?
As a matter of fact, with the new airline regulations that are in for the sizes of the bags and the weight constraints, those are very easy to get. You can use what they call vacuum tubes or vacuum boxes or vacuum cubes.
Hey, I hate to tell you this. I was just thinking that. And you say that's really the answer?
That's one of the answers, yes. Because these little things can take, if say you're going overseas in the late fall, you're going to want to pack sweaters. So when you're doing that, you're going to want to make sure those sweaters are as flat as possible.
Oh, yeah.
And these little tubes, or these little cubes, as they're called, will actually suck it out while you're packing, and you can actually pack them flat.
Do I get to take that tube with me? Does that come with me?
Well, it is actually a plastic piece. It looks like a big piece of plastic with the air sucked out of it.
Okay.
So, and it's really easy to do. When you're here in the States, you just take your vacuum hose and you can suck out all the air. It makes it very quick. However, when you're overseas and you're repacking everything.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Okay.
How do I?
When you're repacking everything, you stick it in there, and then you start rolling it or squashing it to get all the air out as flat as it can be. It won't be as tight as when you went over, but it's pretty good.
Now, what if I want to purchase some things over there? How do I prepare?
Well, before you purchase anything,
yes,
you have to get there.
Okay.
And some of the things that you need in your packing bag.
Yes.
You want an emergency first aid kit. Because you want to make sure you have your little Band-Aids or your little Neosporin or whatever in case you fall down and go boom. And you also want a little sewing kit.
Will that go through security?
Yeah, just a tiny one. You're not getting big scissors or anything like that. So these little tiny, you can sometimes buy them in the dollar store, just small enough to, for an emergency purpose. Okay. So you want to pack those as well. Okay. So these are some of the things that you're going to want handy. You want to want them there. Now,
how many bags do I want to take? What kind? The great thing today is these bags that roll around.
Yes.
Do I want one of those?
Okay. Now, I hate to sound like a plug.
Yes.
I hate to, I'm going to do a shameful plug, but there is a line of luggage out there from Samantha Brown, who travels quite extensively. And she created her own line of luggage, which I have seen, I have viewed, I've pulled it apart. And I think it's absolutely fabulous.
Okay.
Because particularly for women.
Why is that? What makes it so good?
One is the size on the bag itself that you're rolling around is the size that is required now by most airports for carry-on luggage.
Oh.
Yeah. And what makes it even nicer is it rolls in any direction. It's a 4-way roll.
Okay.
So no matter which way you're walking, it's going to roll with you.
Now, do those wheels stick out when you put them in the overhead bin?
Do they stick out?
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't stick out. They're part of the size.
Well, yeah, they're okay. But it seems like that would take up an extra inch or so.
No, you're always going to want wheels on your luggage.
Okay.
The next thing is part of that piece of luggage is her carry-on pocketbook. I call it a pocketbook or a purse or whatever.
You mean the big bag?
It's a nice size purse.
Yeah.
She has that included, and then she has this little attachment piece that's also included where you can put your passport and your ID, so when you're going through the airports, it's easily accessible. So if you go to, I'm not sure what website she advertises on, but if you go to Samantha Brown Luggage, online, you'll find it.
Okay.
And it comes in great styles and colors and things like that, particularly for women. And if you want dark colors for men, it's also available. But it was very, very, very convenient and the proper sizes.
Convenient is the thing. Now, you said that's Samantha Brown.
Samantha Brown.
At .com?
I would go Samantha Brown Luggage and just do a Google search for her.
Okay.
And you'll find it. I want to say she's on the Home Shopping Network, but I can't be quite certain on that.
Okay. Now, sometimes you may have to carry your own bag. Right?
Yes, that's why you want to keep them as small and as light as possible and as easy to get what you need out of them. Okay,
now I'm packing. I'm going to be gone for 10 days.
Okay.
Now what does the female need to take with her? We'll get to me, but
what does the female need to take with her? Women are always going to want to pack their makeup. Now, if you're not going to a third world country, if you're going to England or Ireland or Scotland or Italy or France, you will have convenience stores of sorts there where, oh my gosh, my mascara ran out. You can get mascara. You can get makeup. You can get, aspirin. There are places that you can go and get. So don't panic that you might not have packed every little iota with you.
Okay.
But like I said, if you're not going to a third world country, because there are places. I mean, I went to, I forget where I was. It might have been Wales, and they had a Woolworth.
Oh.
And it's like, a Woolworth. I was like so excited. Look, there's a Woolworth. I ran in to see what was in there. And guess what? They had everything that we had in there.
Wow.
So
now, again, what do I need to take?
You definitely want to take...
if I go on a flight and then a cruise or something, what's
basically,
my dress
you're going to want to
requirement?
dress for the weather.
Okay.
Okay? So when you're dressing... Okay, when you're dressing for the weather, say you're going during the summer. I went during the summer, okay? But I knew I was going to the Arctic North. I was going way up north, the northern end of Scotland. I knew I was going to be cold. So I needed to pack a coat.
Uh-oh, yeah.
Okay, now it's the 4th of July, and I'm packing a heavy leather coat. And I packed a short, like a car coat, they call it. Just enough that I knew that I would be warm. And I also packed my gloves.
Okay. Oh.
So I had my coat and my gloves with me, and I carried my coat onto the plane because sometimes my planes are cold, so I like to use them as a blanket.
Good idea.
So I carried my coat. But,
so you don't have to use those silly blankets that the airline
But definitely get your casual wear because you're going to be doing a lot of walking, so you want comfortable shoes. You want your casual wear, and you want something that you can dress up with in case you go out at night. So for a man, definitely grab a jacket and perhaps a tie. And a jacket that might go with several different pairs of slacks. So you only have to pack one jacket.
Yes.
Okay. So it keeps it lighter. And same goes for women. If you know that you're going to be traveling a lot, try to mix and match as much as possible. So maybe, you have 3 pairs of slacks and a skirt. If you're going on a cruise ship, some cruise ships have formal night. So, you're going to have to wear a full suit for a man or something more formal for a woman, more cocktail attire.
One of my friends a long time ago suggested for a man that he has a blue blazer and 2 sets of pants, gray and tan.
Right.
Would those work for the night on
No.
cruise ship? Has to be a suit.
Right. Like I said, it depends on the cruise ship. Some cruise ships require full formal attire. And I'm not saying formal tuxedo, but you are going to have to wear a suit with a tie. So with that blue blazer, should have a blue pair of slacks. So you look like you match in one suit. Okay.
Now, on the cruise, and we're kind of skipping ahead here, but this is information that I need to know. On the cruise... Now, does the cruise provide me with that kind of information that I will need to know?
Yes. Yes, there is. That was me fanning myself. It's hot in the studio today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All the wind coming through. But the cruise ships usually will tell you that they have one night of, formal attire, or they have 2 nights of formal attire. When I went on a cruise, it was a 10-day cruise or a 10-night cruise. So we had 2 nights of formal attire. And I had 2 evening gowns with me.
I was going to say, you better have 2.
Yeah, one evening gown I could easily roll up into a ball and open it up, and it didn't even wrinkle. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're looking for women. They want to look for stuff that they don't have to iron.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But if you are on a cruise ship, they do have laundry services available. You can get things ironed and pressed and cleaned if you need it. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if you want some more information on a cruise or a tour or packing tips, you need to get a hold of Zee Michaelson at Zee Michaelson Travel. Now, how would they do that?
It's real simple. Just go to ZeeMichaelsonTravel.com, and there's my website, and they can look at all the different cruises and tours that we can do for them. Or just give me a call, and the phone number is right there on ZeeMichaelsonTravel.com.
All right. Well, until next time, I think we're going to be talking about some more travel tips. So thank you for listening to Zee Michaelson Travel Podcast today. I'm Jay Lawrence.
And this is Zee Michaelson, making your travel dreams come true.